Welcome back to the Jag Bros. Another game coming up this Sunday. The Jaguars are going to host the Indianapolis Colts at 1 o'clock in Jacksonville. I'm one of your hosts, JT Raymond, alongside my two brothers, Jack and Joey, three lifelong Jags fans that grew up in the 90s watching Jacksonville succeed and now has lived through a decade and a half of just absolute utter garbage. And we're along for the ride. We'll be breaking down the Colts game in all of the many facets. But let's start with confidence meter, guys. How confident are you feeling that Jacksonville is going to come in and actually put together a good performance on Sunday?
I have two confidence meters going on right now, and it all relies on Anthony Richardson starting or not. I think if Anthony Richardson starts, my confidence meter is very high that we win. And then if Joe Flacco plays, then it goes down to like a 3 because Joe Flacco burned us last year, and we just do terrible with pocket passer, older quarterbacks. So definitely more confident if Anthony Richardson plays.
Mine doesn't matter so much on the Colts. It's all about the Jaguars. I mean, look, there's a lot of things going in their direction for this game in terms of it's beyond a must-win situation. You're 0-4. This is throwback jersey Sunday in Jacksonville. This is the Sunday that Tom Coughlin gets inducted into the pride of the Jaguars. Realistically, I just don't know that it matters who they play right now. It's hard to have any confidence in this team just because of how poorly they played in the last 4 games and the fact that Trevor Lawrence hasn't won a start in more than 300 days. So I don't know that it matters who the Colts starting quarterback is or is not. This is a game that the Jags should win, but I just, that's been said several times so far this season, and it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, I mean, Deshaun Watson's been terrible, and he still had one of his better performances against Jacksonville in Jacksonville. So why would Anthony Richardson not have a very good performance against Jacksonville as well? So completely agree with you, Jack. My confidence is at a 0. At a couple games ago, I think I was at 10 or 12 from a confidence perspective. It's all on Jacksonville. This team is certainly talented, more talented maybe on paper than the Colts. But do they actually care? Do they want to win? Or is the locker room potentially lost? Like we've seen some rumors this week on Reddit. So we'll address all of those things and more in this episode.
If I'm Doug Peterson, here are the 3 things I'm doing getting ready for the game. Number 1, turning in my resignation. No, just kidding. But kind of, actually. But secondly, I'm telling, hey, listen to the last couple episodes of the podcast and figure out a way to light a fire in this team. Get something you have to have 110% urgency. And then number 3, I'm telling our guys, hey, study what in the world happened in 2022, how that magic happened, because this was a team that was 3-7 headed into the bye. And then we have that incredible game where we beat the Ravens by 1 point in Jacksonville. I think both of y'all were there, and a shout out to our mom. I think she was there cheering on the Jags as well. But you've got to figure out how that team turned it around and created some magic, because this team desperately needs some magic.
I like what you're saying, Jack, but honestly, I think the rally cry may, I hope, come from Tom Coughlin. He's going into the Jags Hall of Fame, as everyone knows, this game, and I hope he talks to this team and gets them to work so much harder. And obviously Doug's not doing it, so a good speech from Tom, who took no crap and would make the old team run and run, and he wouldn't let them just off the hook like Doug does. So I want to see him kind of rile them up. And then the thing that made the 2022 season so good was they were a family. They rallied around each other. When someone didn't have 100% game, someone else stepped up and gave 100%, and you saw people picking each other up and doing what it need to be done to win the games and help each other out. But I haven't seen that at all from this team. It's all about their own personal performance. No one steps up when someone else makes the mistake. It's a lot more finger pointing and, oh, he made a mistake, so now I don't need to try. That has to change if we want to start winning.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Joey. You had a team that somebody was going to find a way to win. Now this team feels like somebody's going to find a way to lose, whether it's the coaching staff, whether it's the defense, the offense, or sometimes the special teams. It kind of feels like it's the special teams time to let us down, because we haven't seen that happen in a while. But there's no positive momentum at all right now within Jacksonville.
Nope, but it's a long season and there's always a chance. To quote Dumb and Dumber, you're saying there's a chance because the Jags win here, you go to London, you have two very winnable games. You're sitting there at 3-4 home against Green Bay. It could be a very different season. But let's break down this game on Sunday. Of course, a big one, a divisional game. So let's talk about the Jags offense against the Colts defense. You will see a lot of former Jaguars. In fact, the Colts defense coordinator is Gus Bradley, who all Jags fans will know well. They also have Tavon Bryan and Adam Gotsis on their defensive line, former Jags. But this is also a beat up defense. In fact, both of these teams have a lot of injuries on the defense. DeForest Buckner for the Colts is on IR, and actually three other defensive guys for the Colts are on the IR currently. So what do you look for the Jags offense versus the Colts defense in this game?
You have to take advantage of DeForest Buckner being out and running it and helping Trevor Lawrence as he's in this kind of slump right now. It doesn't seem like he's going to be able to carry the game, so we need a good performance out of the offensive line again, and then just running it with Tank and Etienne more. We had a huge breakout run, and I want to see maybe a little bit more of that as Trevor is struggling right now. So that's what I think we need to do is take advantage of the lower defensive line that the Colts have right now.
It's early in the season, but Tank's improvement so far has been crazy. Last year, he averaged 2.6 yards per carry on the ground, and he's not going to sustain this, but so far through 4 games, he's averaging 8.2 yards per carry. So, yeah, get Tank the ball going. Get Trevor confidence early. This is, last year we were all frustrated that there were so many screen passes, so many dump offs. Well, you've got to get some easy completions early for Trevor to get confidence early in this game.
Look, the Colts defense is terrible. You might not necessarily see that right now in all of their metrics, but the reality is you look at who they've played. They played a Malik Willis Packers, and they played Caleb Williams on his second road start in the NFL. And then they played the Steelers, who had a great offensive day, and the Texans, who had a great offensive day. And even the Bears had an awesome Caleb Williams threw for 363 yards. So whether it's throwing the ball or running the ball, teams are having success moving the ball pretty regularly against this team. They've already given up 3 100-yard rushers in the first 4 games. This is a team that can be got on defense. We remember Gus Bradley. I thought his defense was stale 10 years ago. It's only gotten staler. And if they're missing some of that high-end talent, there's no reason Jaguars offense should not have success running or passing or really whatever we want to do, because you look at what these other teams have done. They have marched up and down the field at will on Indianapolis. They haven't always gotten in the end zone, and they have turned over some teams so far. But outside of that, this is not a good defense that we're playing against.
This would be a great game. I know Jack's got injury reports, but Evan Ingram hopefully can make it back from this hamstring and make it for this game, because I think he could really be a different setter for this offense, kind of changing up the pace as well for Trevor, getting short passes, warming up, and then maybe looking to him in the end zone, as the end zone targets have not been great recently. So I just hope that he's back and can really take advantage, as JT said, of this bad Colts defense.
Yeah, Ingram is still day to day. That's going to be the big one to watch. And honestly, we say this often, but follow us on Twitter, follow us on X, because we're recording this Wednesday afternoon. And we've seen it a lot this season where, especially Ingram, like that was a call right before the game in warm up. And so make sure you're following us, following the Jags, all that on social media, because yes, having Ingram back would be huge. But there is no reason that the Jags offense shouldn't have a huge day. Justin Fields just threw 22 for 34, 312 yards and a touchdown. Trevor, this is the get right game. You've got to have a big game. And I'm going to call out a guy who's been very quiet other than on this podcast, and that's Gabe Davis. Gabe Davis has been historically a boom or bust guy. He's had a really slow start through 4 games, and this feels like this could be a boom game because there's just not a lot of good guys in this Colts secondary. And so I would not be shocked if you saw one of those Gabe Davis-esque games where he just goes off for the Jags. And I know, Joey, you'll be celebrating a ton if that happens on Sunday.
This will be interesting too, because the Colts have given up the number one amount of offensive plays to their opponents so far. They give up 295 plays, and Jacksonville this year has really struggled both with time of possession and running a total number of plays offensively. So again, it speaks to what I was saying in the sense that you should have an opportunity to be able to sustain drives against this, which is another thing that's been driving Jacksonville mad for the last few weeks. So would love to see us not get so many 3-and-outs and sustain drives, because this is absolutely the get right game for the Jaguars offense.
So that is how our offense can win this game, but we also need the defense to play better. They've been on the field way too long, been giving up third downs way too easily. How is our defense going to stack up against this Colts offense?
Well, Joe, you already mentioned the big question is going to be at this point Wednesday, Anthony Richardson is questionable. And, this is probably going to be a game time decision between AR and Joe Flacco. And unfortunately, both had a lot of success against us last year. AR threw in that week 1 opening game, his first NFL game. He threw for 223 yards, a touchdown, 1 interception, but also ran the ball for 40 yards and another touchdown. And then we all remember Joe Flacco going off in that resurgence. Even though he's 39, somehow he's still a Jags killer for the Browns. He threw for over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a pick. And so the secondary's got to find a way to be better, whether that's Savage coming back from injury or something, because CJ Stroud, especially in that first half, torched us. You can't give up over 300 yards to either one. Joe Flacco at 39 years old or Anthony Richardson, the guy who looks like Superman but is Mr. Glass, always hurt. Like, you can't let either guy go for 300 yards, whether that's passing and rushing in the case of AR.
Well, here's the challenge. You cannot run man-to-man against AR because he's so fast. If you break contain, which should be easy considering our linebackers and defensive ends don't always play within assignment, and you're playing man-to-man, he could easily rattle off a 10, 20-yard run. We saw that against Josh Allen. Josh Allen, anytime his third down, was able to just take off with his feet. Additionally, our guys have showed that I just don't trust Darby or anybody to go 1-on-1 with Pittman or Josh Downs. Josh Downs is young and relatively unproven, but he's a fast guy, and he's somebody that can absolutely beat you deep if you have no good safety coverage over the top. Joe Flacco has shown that he likes to throw the ball deep. The other thing that's working in Jacksonville's favor a little bit is that Jonathan Taylor has a ankle sprain. Right now he's listed as questionable. Trey Sermon would be the likely the running back to get the majority of the carries if Jonathan Taylor is out. So we could theoretically be catching the Colts at the right time just without Taylor, but I would not be surprised, whoever the running back is, if they continue to try to target the running back out of the backfield, and pretty much whatever their first read wide receiver is going to be open. And as many questions I have about AR, one of the things that he's not good at, or excuse me, one of the things that he is decent at is making his first throw, first read. And so if we're just giving him that, then he could still have a very good day.
100%. Yeah, this is an easy game for whoever the Colts quarterback is. Just look at who Ronald Darby is covering, because I just saw this stat today, which is disgusting. He is in last place at quarterback rating when targeted. The quarterback rating when targeting Ronald Darby is 146.5. And he's given up 324 passing yards against him when targeted, which is third last in the NFL. And so I don't know if it's, switch him with DeAndre Prince or something, but Darby has been bad, and the Colts wide receivers are not elite, but they are clearly better than Darby right now. So if I'm AR or Joe Flacco, I'm just targeting whoever Darby is covering.
As I said earlier in my confidence, this offense all depends on Anthony Richardson versus Joe Flacco, because I believe that Anthony Richardson's not that good of a quarterback. And to beat this team, it is all about making like high percentage passes and being able to just tear us apart with slants, outs, we don't come up and crash. So if you throw high percentage passes, you'll complete them. Versus Anthony Richardson, I think takes a lot more risks, throws the deep ball, and does a lot more scary throws versus being able to hit his short and medium passes. So we can actually tee off and maybe get our first interception this year if Anthony Richardson plays. Versus if Joe Flacco plays, he's going to sit back there, take the easy passes that we give him, and just torch us. So
you're right
this,
about that Jacksonville being primarily getting torn up underneath both slants and running back out of the backfield, which Joe Flacco would be better. My hunch, though, is that whatever the team wants to do offensively, Jacksonville's going to give it to them. In fact, if you look at Jacksonville versus the quarterback so far through 4 games, we've given up the most amount of yards passing, we've given up the most amount of fantasy points, and one of the higher amounts of rushing yards against quarterbacks too. So you're just seeing these quarterbacks do whatever they want against Jacksonville, and I think regardless of who plays, whether it's Flacco killing us underneath or Anthony Richardson killing us with his legs and a deep ball, I just don't see us having success. I do agree with you on the interceptions. This is a game, regardless of who's playing quarterback, that Jacksonville should be able to get their first turnover from a defense.
The one good thing for this matchup for the Jags defense is that the Colts do not have a strong tight end. In fact, if you look at their roster, it's really pretty much just 3 Brenton Strange's tight ends on their roster. And so that is typically a weakness for our defense. In theory, that shouldn't be too much of a concern. But this is going to be another area similar to the Colts defense where the Jags defense have had a lot of injuries. And let's see if we can get some of these guys back like Savage. Can we get Devin Lloyd back? Josh Hines Allen is currently in concussion protocol. Will he be able to go on Sunday? So a lot of what our defense will look like is going to be determinant on those 3 injuries. And specifically with Foye Oluokun still out, I want to see Ventrell Miller string together back-to-back really strong games. I love what I heard this week. That he was one of the guys that really got the defense motivated in the locker room to have that switch from the first half where they got torched to the second half where they played very, very well against the Texans. And he is a guy that said, hey, third down is the money down for this defense. So they've got to stop the Colts. They've got to stop somebody on third down. And Ventrell Miller needs to have another big game for this Jags defense.
Yeah, Jacksonville's been okay stopping the run thus far this year. And that third down, money down thing, that was a Florida thing back in the day. That's what Florida used to talk about, our third downs being money downs back when Florida actually had a decent defense.
Yeah, I agree with you that Ventrell Miller may be a key to unlocking this defense. He could be the Arden Key almost of this team that brought the energy, that really helped that defense kind of be a lot more energetic and lively. I think Savage, if he can get back, he looked really good in the first game. He also looked like he wanted to play hard, hit hard, and brought some energy. This defense really needs more people. I don't care if you make a mistake, but running around, hitting hard, and looking like you want to be out there instead of constantly playing on the back of your heels and just trying to catch everybody. I want to see people coming downhill, trying to get them behind the line and being a more aggressive defense. That is what we were supposed to be getting with Ryan Nielsen in the first place.
Good call. Yeah, I would love to see some aggression on the defense. And let's go straight into our keys for victory. So how do the Jaguars finally get their first victory on Sunday? They're the only team that is winless in the NFL. How do they do that? Let's talk offensively. How does this offense win this game for the Jags?
On both sides of the ball, it's do we care? Like ultimately, which is a really hard metric to judge. But look, offensively, I think you're going to have whatever you want against this Colts defense. And so, like, do we want to run it? I think we'll have success. Do we want to pass it? I think we'll have success. And like I said, you should be able to sustain drives against this Colts defense. I am going to go with third down conversion. We've been dreadful so far offensively. I would like to see us above 50% third down conversion. If we do that, I think there's almost no way we lose. It feels hard to do too for this Jaguars offense.
As we talked about, this Colts defense isn't great. So I think a huge thing also for this Jags offense is just not shooting yourself in the foot. If you come away with 3 or less penalties, I think we may win. Don't hold.
I'm sick of those procedural penalties. We get so many legal formations, false starts. We get so many of those that for Trevor, who's struggling to move the ball consistently, turn out to be drive killers.
Yeah, this offense, once it's out of rhythm for just a second, dies. Like the drive has to go perfectly. We've seen a few perfect drives this year in the first game against the Dolphins, and then one in the third quarter against the Bills when we came out and really kind of looked like we might try to do something. Like, if we can keep the drive going, this team may actually win. So don't shoot yourself in the foot and with all these flags or anything that would kind of slow the momentum down. If you can keep the penalties under 3 for this offense, I think we can win.
JT, I'm similar to you. This is a hard metric to quantify, but I think it's true on offense and defense, and that's confidence. Does this offense, does Trevor Lawrence, do they have confidence at all going into this? Look, I think there's a lot of things you could throw out, but Trevor Lawrence has to at least be close to what Justin Fields just did to the secondary. So Fields went 312 yards and a touchdown. I'm going to say Trevor has to at least get over 250 yards, which he has not done yet this year, and at least 2 touchdowns. And then defensively, it's confidence again. It's so in their head that they can't cause a turnover, that they're the only team through 4 weeks that haven't done it. I think they have to have a turnover in the first half against the Colts. Otherwise, they just keep buying subconsciously the narrative of, oh, we're just a defense that can't cause turnovers. They need that. The offense needs it. I think defensively, you need to see a turnover, ideally in the first quarter, but definitely in the first half.
For me, the stat that's going to ultimately rule the day for them is, and I would love to see this charted on Doug's winning percentage, is time of possession. Jacksonville has to win the time of possession battle, and we've lost the time of possession battle all 4 games. We look terrible, and I think Doug Peterson's offense, Joey, to your point about rhythm and all those things, it all plays into this thing. Jacksonville needs to win the time possession battle. If we do that, we're going to win more often than not. I also would like to see us get at least 1 turnover defensively. You're going to see some level of regression, I would think, to the mean here, where we've had 0 defensive turnovers for 4 games now. I think we'll luck into getting 1. So at least 1 turnover and to win the time of possession battle would be, I think, massive for this game.
Time of possession, I think, comes with obviously the defense being able to get the team off the field. And that's what my key to victory is for this defense, is being aggressive. As I mentioned, stop playing so far back. It seems like we're trying to catch everyone. They're like, okay, you catch the pass, I'll tackle you. We'll just kind of let you just keep dragging it down the field until eventually you score. We need to be more aggressive. I need to see the Ryan Nielsen that everyone said that we were getting, where it's going to be aggressive, downhill, tight coverage. I want the safeties brought in. Like,
We don't have the personnel for that. You bring your safeties in and you play aggressive.
If you're
going to get beat over the top.
If you coach constantly, oh, I don't have the personnel, so let's just play like further back, because that, like, you're going to lose either way. At least if you play aggressively, you may end up winning because you actually gave yourself a chance. But if you're constantly just let's play back, as you saw against Houston Texans, we went zone because we thought we didn't have the personnel to run man. We switched it in the second half and ran man anyways because we were like, well, they're burning us in zone. Let's might as well switch it. And it was a light switch for the team. They started playing better. Just because you don't have your first starters doesn't mean that you need to change the entire game plan. Still play and let these boys at least give a shot. As you've seen, Ventrell Miller plays better than anyone ever thought. Monteric Brown is playing better than anyone thought. Let them give a chance instead of just let's play back, let them catch it, and then we'll just kind of hopefully our offense scores 40 points.
Yeah, do whatever you did that second half against Houston, because that worked. And this Jags defense has been hot and cold. Let's hope they're hot on Sunday, which leads us right into our predictions for the game. JT, you and I are 2-2 with us picking 2 Jags wins and 2 Jags losses. Joey, you may be 1-3. There's an asterisk because you said last week on the pod that the Jags were going to lose, and then you text us the day before that the Jags were going to win. So either 1-3 or 0-4. But let's talk about this game on Sunday, Jags versus Colts. Who do y'all have winning?
I have to look at this team like it's a Gus Bradley team. And Gus Bradley would typically get 2 or 3 wins a year. And for whatever reason, oftentimes it was against the Colts. This feels like a game Jacksonville should win, regardless of who's quarterback. You're at home, but I can't pick Jacksonville to win until they actually show it to me on the field. So give me another Jaguars loss, 26-24. I think the offense does have some success, but I just don't trust the defense, and I just don't trust the team to be able to put all the aspects of it together. And I don't think we'll see anything sustainably change until we see some sort of change either in the front office or in the coaching room.
Man, JT, we are on almost the identical same page. This is a game that the Jaguars should win. This is a game that they need to win. This is a game where they're favored to win. And yet, as I've said the last several episodes, I have embraced my Jaguars villain, and I will not pick them to win again until they actually can find a way to win. Give me the Colts 24, Jaguars 23, where it doesn't matter if it's AR or Joe Flacco. They lead the Colts on a last-minute go-ahead touchdown just to break the Jags' hearts yet again. And I'm going to drop my villain quote. I've been thinking about this today. JT, you talked about how we were Jags fans since the 90s. Well, I'm a 90s kid, and I remember Lion King movie growing up. And what does Scar say to Mufasa sarcastically as he throws him off? He says, "Long live the king." Well, for Jags fans, this is our sarcastically long live the Doug Peterson era, because he can say, and Trevor can say, oh, the locker room is not lost. Well, when you go lose 0-5 and go to London to go play a nationally televised, internationally televised games and lose again, long live the Doug Peterson era, because it's done in Jacksonville.
I will be the one bright spot.
Joey, before you make your pick, there's a 50% chance of rain in Jacksonville on Sunday.
Oh,
It doesn't matter. Joey's always picking the Jags. I'll give you credit for staying faithful.
there's still there's a small percentage of the fan base that's still positive. I'm going to speak for them. A lot of us don't want to hear it, but I think that we can win this game. I'm almost 100% sure we win against Anthony Richardson. I think we can beat Joe Flacco. I believe that this team still has it in them, and this might be the get right game. And then we go to London and we turn it around. We start playing as a team. We win 2 games there, and then we have a really hard 4-game stretch, but then the bye, and then it gets quite easier again at the end of the season. So I'm not saying that we're going to the playoffs, but I do think this team can turn it around. I think this team can still get 8 to 9 wins if they are able to turn it around right here and show it on the field, show that Tom Coughlin deserves a good game, and all the alumni of the old 1990s teams are going to be there. Maybe they can speak something into these boys and we can win. I have us winning 31. Our offense actually is able to move the ball. We get some rhythm, and Evan Ingram hopefully is back and he can bring a spark. We can get to 31 points and we give up still 26, but we win. Finally, it isn't exactly pretty. There's still a lot of mistakes to be fixed, but we come away with a W going into London.
For the Jaguars to score 30 points, they must have to call up CJ Beathard to come in and start as quarterback for us.
Woo. Well, he just went to the Giants to try out, so
make a trade.
No, I believe Trevor can get out of this slump. He just has to believe in himself and then just stop thinking about it too much. I can see he's worried about getting hit and fumbling it. I see him worried about the stress of the team. Just let it go, let it fly, and then just be you. You have the talent in you. I think you're overthinking it. I think that he can come back.
Sunday is a win-win for me. Either we win, which I always love the Jaguars winning, or we lose and we're one step closer to cleaning house.
Yeah, I'm getting dangerously close to starting to root against Jacksonville just so that we will clean house. And that's such a frustrating place to be as a fan. I'm certainly at the same level too with the Gators right now. And it's just so frustrating.
That is my one con for cheering for the Jags is even if we're able to turn this around, I still would hope that we kind of clean house. I hope that we just miss the playoffs and then we still cut every coach, because I don't think that this is the coaching staff that gets us to a Super Bowl or even deep into the playoffs.
Well, tune in to the game in Jacksonville. Throwback jerseys, Tom Coughlin going to the Ring of Honor, and maybe the Jaguars have a get-right game for Trevor Lawrence. Maybe they find a way to win a game. Right now, they are currently 3-point favorites. So we'll be cheering like crazy for the Jaguars, unless it is a despicable first half. But we'll find out very, very soon. Well, we love Jags fans. We love interacting with you. Follow us on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube. Drop some comments as well. Our favorite thing is to interact with y'all as Jags fans. Let us know what future content you want. But we are going to close it out from all three of us, the Jag Bros. Duval.